We got an all-star squad of NBA Insight here. Hey, Jay Will's with us. Monica McNutt's with us. Wendy's with us as well as we get to LAKER Luka. It's the debut of the night. Luka Doncic, the Lakers, hosting the Jazz. The arena gave out 77 shirts to everybody. Even LeBron had a shirt. And how about this? Dirk Nowitzki flew from Dallas to LA to watch the game with Luka's family. First quarter, Luka's first touch, alley-oop, Jackson Hayes throwing it down. His first assist, Lakers were up 4. We're still in the first quarter, and this is just patented Luka. The step back 3. First points as a Laker, and they're up 4. This is the second quarter. Lauri Markkanen's gonna miss that 3. Luka grabs the board. Look at the outlet. The LeBron, pretty. You know, Lakers were a plus 16 with LeBron and Luka on the floor in the first half. They were up huge at the half. Let's get to the third. They're 29 at this point, and LeBron to Luka, driving, scoring. Luka would hit the free throw, had 14 points in his Laker debut. This is the third quarter. LeBron laying it in. Lakers had a 100-75 lead after 3 quarters. And then we get to the fourth. Keep your eye on LeBron. Takes the charge, and he's going to stay down for a minute. Walks to the locker room and in the tunnel, trying to stretch that thing out. Now, he would return to the bench, all smiles. Doncic had 14. LeBron had 24. Lakers win it in Luka's debut, 132-113. All right, so let's talk about this. Jay Will, I know you were in that building last night in L.A. Give me your first impressions on what you saw out of LeBron and Luka.
So, BC, I know that Neymar's going back to Santos, and that's a crazy situation. I know the Eagles just won a Super Bowl, but I realized last night that the Lakers are probably the most interesting team in all of sports. Like, that's a fact. And LeBron saying in the huddle, don't fit in, fit out, goes to show you how he's thinking about leadership and how these two are thinking about collaborating and working together. Leg said it perfectly last night. They're dual threats as scorers and facilitators on both sides, and I think that makes it scary. What do we always talk about with LeBron? We talk about the minutes that he plays. Well, this allows LeBron to rest. I'm not saying there aren't going to be challenges they're going to have on the defensive end. They're going to have to play more small ball. But seeing these two, probably two of the smartest players we have in the game of basketball right now playing the same court together, it opens up the floor, and this offense is going to be prolific.
Monica, what'd you think?
I thought the offense is going to be thrilling. I thought the minutes, the split minutes that we saw, Luka was on the floor without LeBron and vice versa for stretches, is definitely going to give LeBron James a tremendous reprieve. But I can't help but think about this team defensively still right now. And I get it. Like, the position that you put defenders in, there was a moment in the third quarter where poor John Collins was literally trying to split Doncic and LeBron James. And I was like, oh, God, that's a terrible position to be in as a defender. But I got to see it continue to come together. I wasn't as concerned about the offense as most folks were when this trade went down. I'm really just concerned about this team defensively.
Give me your thoughts here on what you saw out of Luka.
Well, he looked tight early in this game. At one point, before even the first time out, he had to go over to the bench and ask for water. And I don't think it was because he was running so much. I think it was because his mouth was dry because he was so nervous. And I get it. I mean, he hadn't played in almost 2 months. Basically, he's played 2 games in 2 months. Then he comes into this situation where the entire city is looking for him. He didn't ask for this. This happened to him. So this adjustment is there. I'm not sure we learned a heck of a lot about their team. I actually think the biggest takeaway from the game, and look, this was a game against one of the worst teams in the league. They picked a perfect spot to bring him in. But was that Austin Reeves still was able to have a big game? One of the big challenges, I know everybody focuses on LeBron and Luka, and I get it. But one of the big challenges for J.J. Redick is to keep Austin Reeves going. This guy's having the best run of his career. This winning streak that they're on right now is driven by Austin Reeves. And so for him to have a 22-point game, sharing minutes and the ball with Luka and LeBron was a good sign. But this is just the beginning of a big process. And Monica is exactly right. I suspect that this Lakers season is going to be tied to how their matchups go in the postseason. If they get a matchup where they can't be punished on the inside, they'll have a great chance. If they draw a team that can use their size, their lack of size against them, they're going to have a tough battle.
Yeah, it's an interesting point about Austin Reeves because he had 42 just the other night. I want you to take a look at something because the Mavericks Governor Patrick Dermott had this to say about the blockbuster trade. Quote, in my mind, the way teams win is by focus, is by having the right character, having the right culture, and having the right dedication to work as hard as possible to create a championship-winning outcome. If you look at the greats in the league, the people and I grew up with, Jordan, Bird, Kobe, Shaq, they work really hard every day with a singular focus to win. And if you don't have that, it doesn't work. If you don't have that, you shouldn't be part of the Dallas Mavericks, end quote. So obviously, Wendy, he's going basically adding to what you've heard out of Dallas, that Luka not in shape, that Luka doesn't adhere to a diet. He's not in the best conditioning. Give me your thoughts and your reaction to those quotes from the Dallas governor.
He at one point even compared the way Luka played to being on vacation. And, he's only been the governor for about a year, and he's been mostly mild-mannered in all of his comments. This was a really remarkable set of remarks. I'm just going to say that the most important thing that comes out of it is he is 100% backing Nico Harrison. In another part of the interview, he totally praised him, praised his intellect, praised the decisions he's made. And you can make Nico the villain, but this interview made it clear that this was an organizational decision from the very top to trade Luka Doncic. And if it ends up in disaster, if it ends up in infamy, there are a number of people who have now signed their name to this decision. And this, not only this next rest of this season, especially with Anthony Davis's injury situation, but for the next few years, there are some Mavericks people who have got their necks on the line here.
Your thoughts on this? Because Mark Cuban, obviously not the majority owner anymore, said when he heard about it, he urged them, don't do it. Give me your thoughts, though, on what you heard out of Dermott.
So I'm not 100% sure on the timeline of this one, guys, but I'm not going to lie, these comments sort of ticked me off because I think you can make the trade, you can stand on business, but y'all acting like this man didn't take y'all to the Western Conference Finals and the Finals last year. I get it. You might not view him as someone who works as someone at the Kobe level, but we all know a guy like Kobe is probably the highest bar and is infamous for his work ethic and how hard he went after the game, almost to his detriment to a degree when you listen to some of his former teammates talk, right? So put a little, there's a little bit too much dip on your chip in my mind. Luka is supremely talented. He brought your franchise success. It may not be a good fit moving forward, but it's starting to sound a little personal or something to me because this is just too much.
Jay, what were your thoughts?
DC, I thought his comments were ill-advised and I thought they were petty. You can back Nico Harrison and not put down or give insight on things that went wrong with Luka. Like, if you're going to make the trade, stand on the trade without diminishing the player. Like, the trade itself diminishes the player, right? Like, everybody's trying to find reasons, but to speak on it, to me, I just thought was the wrong move. I think it puts Patrick in a poor light. And I think for that franchise and everything that Nico Harris and company are trying to do, I just think it put everybody in a poor situation. I don't think that those comments were good at all.
Speaking of the Mavs, I want you to take a look real quick here, Monica, because the Mavs were in action last night. They took on the Sacramento Kings. And by the way, Kyrie Irving named an all-star again. We pick it up in the fourth quarter. Mavs blew a double-digit lead. Malik Monk driving to the rim, scoring. Kings are up 2. And then next position, Keegan Murray shoots that 3. We're tied up at 114 thanks to Sabonis in the putback. 20 seconds left. Irving spins around and scores. Mavs up 2, 116-114. Next Kings possession. DeMar DeRozan, he was phenomenal in this game. Fades, hits it. We're tied at 116. We're going to overtime. 11 seconds left. Mavs down to Klay Thompson. Bam. Mavs lead by 1, 128-127. Next King possession, 9 seconds left. DeMar DeRozan. I told you he was good. Watch this. They send the double team after him. Watch this. Steps through it and scores. DeRozan had 42 on the night. Kyrie Irving had 30. The Kings win 129-128. Mavs have lost 4 of the last 6 games. And Daniel Gafford, their center, went down with a knee sprain. Wendy, give us the latest, though, on Anthony Davis because, again, he did not play last night. He's got that abductor injury, and there's concern on whether or not he may need surgery. What's the latest you're hearing?
Okay, so he got imaging. He had the injury on Saturday. He didn't think it was serious. He got imaging on Sunday, and all of a sudden the tone completely changed. And the Mavericks spent yesterday getting medical opinions on the treatment. I am not going to speculate the severity of the injury, but that set of events is not sounding great. The level of injury to the Mavericks big men is jaw-dropping. They now have 4 injured centers. Obviously, AD is out. Derek Lively, their young starter before the Davis trade, is out with a broken bone in his ankle. Daniel Gafford banged his knee last night. They called it a knee sprain. I don't know what the outcome is there. Their 4th-string center, Dwight Powell's been out for weeks with a hip injury. Maxi Kleba, the guy that they traded in the Luka trade, had previously broken his foot. That's 5 injured centers. Their starting power forward, PJ Washington, has also been out with injury. It's a mash unit at their big man position. Kyrie Irving is dealing with a back issue, working through a disc injury. Regardless of what you think about the Luka Doncic trade, this team is in a very tenuous position just because of health.
Yeah, and listen, people want to tie it, especially in Dallas, Jay Will, the trade to Luka, and they're saying, look, the Lakers got us. Give us your thoughts.
Well, look, I mean, if everybody was healthy for Dallas, I would tell you that I think they actually can make a run. That's why it's one of the biggest gambles that we've seen in team sports history. Because with AD and with Gafford and with the size that they have, if everybody were healthy, you would think about the rim protection defensively, where they could be. And that's kind of the way the Lakers tried to play before with multiple bigs. But obviously with what Wendy just said, and obviously seeing Gafford go down last night and all the injuries that this team is dealing with, it's salt on the wound. And it's a hard pill to swallow when you make a move like that and then you're plagued with injuries.
Monica, have the Mavericks already lost this trade?
I'm not going to say that. I think, yeah, I echo what Jay said. Injuries this particular season, I will say this. The Mavericks window to me is a little bit smaller than whatever it is that the Lakers attempt to accomplish. And it's literally fragile, right? Like it's one of those screens that if you put your finger in it, it's going to bust a hole in it. Like it's got some things going on because of the history of these guys in terms of their injury. And frankly, you did trade for an older star. So I will say I personally don't buy year one it necessarily works. I think what we saw in Toronto with Kawhi Leonard continues to be an extreme outlier. So I'm not necessarily sold that this was going to be the year anyway, but based on their history, that window is a little bit fragile.